Hey, beautiful girlfriend, how are you today? We're going to be talking about authentic leadership in action with Olivia Rose. Hello, Olivia. Welcome
Hey,
to Brave
Karen.
Bird.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. It's always such a joy. And we're one of the things that I love about the magazine is that we get to talk about all these different topics and leadership. We have not talked about this one yet. And there's different kinds of leadership. There's leadership in your life, leadership in your business. So as we go into this, we'll talk a little bit about who it is for. But first of all, let's just talk a little bit about you and where you come in this expertise to talk on this subject and what you do, and a little bit about your story.
Sure, I'll try to do the thumbnail version.
Yeah.
So I spent over 20 years in leading programs, early childhood and family development programs, and 15 of those years in government programs, and loved loved the work, loved the program, and found myself on the other side of COVID, like so many of us, incredibly burned out. And I had great coaches, great leadership and executive coaches. I was so delighted that I got to work with them. But on the other side of COVID, actually, my partner said to me, sat on the edge of the bed one morning before leaving for work, and he said, "We did not go through everything we've been through, which included beating cancer, for you to die in this bed."
Oh,
My
wow.
depression, the burnout had led to such serious depression and generalized anxiety for me. I was getting out of bed 10 minutes before virtual meetings or, last possible second before being needing to be in the office and crashing out every night. And so it was time to do something really different. And I went on an adventure to find my own healing and path back to health, which included me doing something that 12 years prior I had told my first leadership coach, which was, I'm going to be a coach when I grow up. And so I went back to coaching school and went for it. And here I am. And I am happy to say that. And I'm grateful for my therapist and my primary care physician who put me on meds to help me. The second most important thing someone said to me was my doctor said, "These medications will not cure you, but it will take the edge off so you can do the healing you need to do to get back to being yourself." And it
Oh,
so did. And now I'm so happy to say that I've been off medication for 2 years. Not
my.
that it's for everyone and not that that's the goal, but because I did the work and did the practices and I recovered myself. And now I'm proud to say that I am even since the magazine's publication, I went from an associate certified coach to a professionally certified coach.
Oh, we're going to
So,
celebrate you
yeah,
today. This is
thank you. I'm
fantastic.
really
Yes.
excited. And I get to continue to do my own leadership the way I want and need to do it and support women in growing their authentic leadership.
Oh my goodness, there's so much there. So first of all, ladies, if you're not familiar with what this is, this we are the Being Brave Tour. It's a magazine, a podcast, and we get to talk about the resources in the magazine with the ladies who wrote them and in our girlfriends. So one of the things that you just said too, it took a team.
Mm.
It wasn't all you. You had a girlfriend who talked to you. You talked with your, consulted with your doctors. It takes sometimes a team of people to take that brave step or to gain a bigger perspective on life or on your situation. And that's what these resources are. They're little 10-minute reflections of to go deeper in thought, to challenge your thinking, to challenge your perspectives, maybe discover something beautiful within. Maybe here we're going to talk about leadership. Maybe you didn't realize you were the leader of your own life. It's,
Exactly, exactly. I have women say that all the time. I want to work with you, but I'm not a leader. And I'm like, yeah, you are. It starts with self-leadership. And someone looks up to you somewhere. There's someone who's admiring you. And if you're a mama, and many of us out there have been mamas, like you're the leader of that family tribe of yours. So yeah, leadership starts with you leading yourself. Absolutely.
You are. And some of us who are grandmothers, now we see, you know what, we're kind of the leader of a bigger family of those maybe little granddaughters or grandsons. And what does that look like? And what kind of legacy are we going to leave behind? And that's really where I see that leadership is how are we going to lead this next generation? And so let's talk a little bit about this. It's authentic leadership in action. And you have the Rebel Rise method. And we're going to talk through that a little bit. But let's talk a little bit first. What would you like people to experience as they walk through this? What do you want them to feel?
I want them to have the feeling of alignment, no surprise, but how I describe it is coming home to yourself. Like
Yeah.
that, like, oh, here I am again. I'm not contorting or changing or conforming to be in a different environment. I'm just here. I'm me.
Yeah, and be present, it sounds like too, and just that, yeah, here I am. I love that. I love that. So as to tell us a little bit about what the Rebel Rise pillars are and how that comes together and kind of let's talk a little bit about leadership.
Yeah. Yeah. I like handy dandy acronyms. I think we all do. It
Yeah,
helps us
easy to remember.
yeah, helps us have a touch point. So there are four touch points of the RISE methodology, and they coincide with RISE. So the first one is reclaim. Reclaim your stories. Reclaim your narrative. Reclaim your headspace back from all that junk that other people poured in there that, the voice of your mom or your bully when you were in school or, whomever, or that bad ex-boyfriend that takes up space in here. Reclaim that space for what is meant for you. So that's the R. I is intuition. I wish I hadn't trusted my intuition. Said no one ever. Right? We women have this gift
Yeah.
of intuition that is unique to us. And what happens is we know it's here. We know it's powerful. We believe it. But the world has told us that the head better substantiate it with data because that intuition isn't a real thing. Science is telling us it is real. We have
Mm.
now science backing up the ancient wisdom that says our intuition is real. Don't override it with the head or spend too long looking to prove it. So, using that intuition faster, better, stronger.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just two.
That's just two of them. So you talk to let's take it, and we'll go into the other ones, the S and the E in just a minute too. But
Yeah, I like it.
we're gonna go broad view over and then we're gonna dive deep into it.
I
So
like it.
you say lead like you mean it. So let's start off. So is this leadership of you, your business, your life? Who exactly is this for as we talk about these rise pillars? And so that reclaim and that intuition, because I see you said something about, how society is challenging us not to use our intuition or to, acknowledge it. So I see it leaders in business. Um, so who is this really directed to and in what
Yeah.
situations?
So it's all of us. It's all of us. It's all of us women because, as you said at the outset, leading yourself is the first step. And I see so many women languishing in the place of what does someone else want or think or need or desire? And and that's great. We want to be aware of other humans. Context matters. The people you're with matter. How you respond and react and engage with them matters. But if you do it to the point where you are centering them instead of yourself, you leave yourself and you can't actually support them the way you want to. So it's for all of us who want to get back to feeling like I'm at home in my body. I'm here and I know me. And because of that, I can be more open to be engaged with you, to be supporting you, to be loving you, helping you from my space, not over leaning into your space and creeping in and forgetting who I am.
Right, right. Being that leader of you first, because it is sometimes easy to be the leader of everybody else.
Sometimes it is.
And so then, yes, and so many different things around that. So that's great. So that's in your life, be that leader of you, and that expands then to your business, your corporate life, your home life, your as a mom, as a grandmother, whatever that looks like for you. So we said reclaim intuition. What's the S for?
S is selfhood.
Oh,
Know thyself to grow thyself.
oh,
We sometimes hide from ourselves because there are parts of us that we don't love as much,
right.
right? But when we do that and we abandon who we really are, we can't really grow in the places that we're most meant to grow. So it's different than grow into who someone else thinks you should be. And it's more like, what are these parts about myself that I love that I want to keep and give more space to? And how do I do that by recognizing the parts of me that I don't always love about myself, to work with those and heal, reconcile, or reform those to join up with the parts of me that I really do love and want to make more space for. So
Oh,
that's the
wow.
S.
Yes. And to finding, sometimes it's really hard to kind of really identify those things, those parts of you that you really love. Because some the points that cause issues tend to be sometimes bigger than the things that we love. So we tend to
Mhm.
focus on those things that aren't maybe as beautiful about ourselves because we can be our own best critics.
Yeah, and sometimes they're one and the same. So for me, in my organizational leadership, I was so mission driven around supporting children and families that sometimes my mission would make staff feel like they weren't as valued as, I've led a team of 50. They're essential to doing this work. Of course, I valued them, but I would get so driven that sometimes I would forget to stop and say, and how does this impact how you feel or experience the workplace? And so knowing this about myself, it's a beautiful trait, I think most of us would say, to be service oriented and mission driven. But if I'm solely doing that, it's actually becomes a weakness because I don't have the partnership, the collaboration of my team. So that if I'm well aware of that, then I can stop and say, okay, if I'm mission driven about serving the children and families that our organization serves, I also need to then open up to how staff are experiencing the work so that we can do our ultimate mission even better. So that's an
Yes.
example of that being one and the same. And once I started and learned how to soften to that, we can go further together, right? What is that saying? If
Yes.
you want to go far, go alone. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yes. And then the last part is equanimity. And I actually had to look that word up. I'm like, what does that mean? So explain that to us.
Yeah, I get that a lot with equanimity. And I'm the person that does that to people. I say words and they go, wait, wait, wait.
Let's
What are you
look at
talking about? Equanimity is a feeling of inner calm, resolve, and peace that you can call on anytime, no matter how much chaos is happening out there in the world. We actually don't have to have our internal space be chaotic when the rest of the world feels chaotic. We can access internal harmony and calmness, and actually practicing that over time, we can influence the world around us to be less chaotic. A lot of us feel we are chaos because the world is chaos. There's actually a
Wow.
separation we can create there.
Yeah, and I love that. So I have had some situations that were rather chaotic, and I had to learn, that different coaches have different ways of doing it, and we're going to go into some reflection questions here in just a minute. But I had to sometimes just pretend like I was a surgeon. So I
Mhm.
could come in and look at the situation and not be emotionally attached, but take a look at it because you would have to make discern decisions about a really maybe chaotic situation. But I had
Yes,
to
that's
step back, or like, and somebody else told me what to, look at it, look at that situation like you're looking at a movie. You're watching a
Mhm.
movie. So you're not in the movie, but you're watching the situation. So you can then take a look at what that is. So there are things like that. But sometimes you need these other pieces to help you get to those places.
Yes.
And that's really what this, a reflection like this helps you do, because you start asking us some questions. So we're going to kind of go a little bit deeper, and we're going to go back to the R, to the reclaim. And you have some quick leadership activities, some little questions that you ask us.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I like this because and intentionally everything in here is meant to be super fast. You can tap into these anytime. What I do recommend is trying them not in the chaos of life the first, few times so that you can access them when you need them in the chaos of life.
Yeah.
So the story swap is a fun, easy little way to notice, to interrupt a story that is living rent free in your head, as so many of us say. That a story that, like I said before, you heard from your family growing up, or your bully in school, or your best friend who was well-meaning but said, "Do you really think you should wear those jeans?" And then you never get it out of your head every time you try on a pair of jeans,
Right.
right? So notice sometimes I ask people, what's the story in your head? They can't find it. But when there's a moment of like the ick, like I'm in a store and I'm trying on the pants and I hear that, ooh, I got the ick. Oh, what's that story? Oh, my friend said, "Are you really sure you want to wear those jeans? Maybe these jeans are going to be that." That's the moment where you can just name it. Okay, that's the story from my friend,
Oh,
right? And then if it's at all true now, if it's at all relevant, sometimes some of our stories are, but more often than not, they're not relevant today. Because you know what? There are a gazillion styles of jeans, and I don't know which ones look good on me until I try them on. No one's going to see me in that dressing room by myself.
yes. And you know what came, just as you were talking, what came up was that feeling, that ugh feeling. Because I
Mm.
actually had a situation just this morning as I was kind of, doing the magazine, doing some design and these different things. And an old thought came up from family that said, well, who do you think you are that you can do this?
Mhm.
Who are you trying to be? Come
Yeah.
back into the crab pot with us. Don't do something new. And it was that feeling, but I really couldn't. I played the story in my head, but I didn't really name it
Yeah.
till just now.
But you knew the feeling as soon as I described
Oh, yes,
it.
yes, came
So
over.
let's play with this, Karen, if we might, since you
Sure,
offered this beautiful example that we can
sure.
all relate to. We all have so many stories from our family of origin.
Yes.
So, what is true now? Because I heard you name that's a stay small story. Who am I to do this? So, what is true now?
What is true now is that I am capable and I can do whatever I want.
Because you're a big grown adult.
I am. In fact, my mom asked me the other day, she goes, well, how'd you think of doing this? I said, well, I just came up with the idea and I just did it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
said, I didn't really spend a lot of time thinking about it. And I just actually took action.
yeah. And I
And
didn't need to ask anybody permission.
yeah, I didn't need anyone's permission. I thought it would be fun and it was for me and I get a lot of joy out of it. So I'm doing it.
Yeah. So that's the next question. What is important for you to contribute?
Yeah. I finally had to realize that I deserve to have some joy as well.
Yeah.
And I thought, which pieces of this are giving me joy? I love to create. I love to create beautiful things. That's what I love doing, creating beauty around the house or, adding flowers or creating graphics or whatever. I never knew I could create graphics. I'm not a graphic designer, but it brings me joy.
Yeah. So you have a right to joy and creativity, is what you've determined.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. Write that down, girlfriend.
I am writing. I've got my pen.
I see it. You're like, yes, I have a right to joy and creativity.
Yes. And
So,
yes, go ahead.
what's the 10-second action that substantiates your right to joy and creativity?
Oh my goodness, a 10-second action is to get up and dance.
I almost want to do it with you right now, but I don't think I'll make us do that. Yeah.
Yes, because that is brings joy and creativity to me. And sometimes I just turn on the music and I am taking some dancing. I've learned a little tap step and I learned some line dancing, but it's really the creative dancing that I can just do in my living room. And it doesn't matter if somebody outside sees me, I'm giving my permission to dance around my floor.
If I dance 10 seconds or 10 minutes, it brings me joy and allows me to tap into my creativity. It's just that easy. And then you'll remember this. I'm, who am I to
Love
do
it.
this? I don't know, but I'm doing it and no one's stopping me
Yeah.
because I have a right to joy and creativity.
And I deserve it. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Yes, because our the messages to us women is that martyrdom is the greatest form of womanhood. It's not true.
Where did that even come from? I know I have had thoughts about that recently. I'm like, why do we feel that we have to give everything of ourselves before we can even think about ourselves
Right.
and about
Right.
our own self survival?
Yeah, and we hear about securing the oxygen mask, blah, 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 and we go, yeah, 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 yeah. And any of us in a plane would secure everybody else's first. We
Oh
know
yeah.
that we would. But this is your moment of securing your oxygen mask. This was your moment to say, I have a right to joy and creativity. And one of the ways, there are many other ways, but one of the ways I choose to express it is by having a one-woman dance party, because I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this.
That's what it
No
means.
county session.
Yeah, we didn't know we were going into coaching today, but that happens.
I love it.
But we hear the phrase of securing our own oxygen mask, but we don't really know how to do it. It's just this. It's just this. I'm going to do it just because I can, and I'm going to have fun doing it, and I'm going to dance for 2 minutes because I can.
Yeah.
And then you show up this bright and lovely and warm and jovial. And we need Karen. We need this version of Karen, not the one who is weighed down by all the self-sacrifice of life. We
Mhm.
need this Karen because she's pretty darn fun.
Thank you. Thank you. And then, I love this because then you go into a 60-second reset.
Yep.
And what is that?
So simple. Breathe in. That was the past. Exhale, exhale. This is who I choose to be now. I choose to be a person that has a right to joy and creativity. And just repeat that. Exhaling the small story, excuse me, inhaling and releasing the small story, exhaling, this is who I get to be now.
Oh,
Even just intentional breathing for 1 minute has the same benefits as meditation.
wow.
And doing it daily, here's the other pro tip. Doing any mindfulness activity daily for 1 to 2 minutes has more impact on our nervous system, our blood pressure, and our body functions than meditating once a week for 30 minutes. Small moments of intention over time build up and change our life if we practice them regularly. But if we make them too hard and it's like, well, if I'm going to meditate, it's got to be for 30 minutes, but I'm not going to do it again tomorrow because that was a big lift, not actually reaping any of the benefits. 60 seconds of breathing in this form can change your whole day.
I love the words that you said with it
Mm.
about breathing in that story, releasing it. And this is who I get to, what did you say? This is who I
This is
get
who I
to,
choose to be now.
who do I choose to be
Or
now?
I get to be now, or whatever you want. But you get to choose who you get to be, regardless of what your kids want and need, or your grandkids, or your neighbor, or your best friend. You get to choose.
Yeah, isn't that something? Let's move on to intuition because we're just going to
Let's
pop
do it.
through a few of these. So,
Yeah,
our
yeah.
intuition, what's one pro tip that you have here, or one question that you take us through? What's the
Mm.
important piece
I
here?
love this quick body scan, where you can just ask, does this move me to who I'm becoming? Yes or no? And just ask your
Oh,
body. You'll get that ick or that buzz real quick, like we just got here. Like, if it's a no, don't do it. Or change what you're doing to bring it into alignment. Don't try to convince yourself that it's supposed to be a yes. And if it's a yes, you know what to do.
yeah, I think that is a key indicator. If you feel that buzz, it's
Yep.
like, oh yeah, that feels aligned, that feels right.
Yep. Now, sometimes we don't feel excited about doing the dishes and we're never going to get that like excited buzz. But if I put on a playlist I love, it's a lot better than if I go, now I gotta do this because nobody in my house unloads the dishwasher and I'm the only one. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or put on your favorite podcast.
Or put on this podcast, this very episode.
The Being Brave Tour podcast, yes, and listen to Olivia because she's going to take us through this. Yes. And so then that selfhood, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Again, know yourself to grow yourself. This is where we find so much agency and choice. So there's the core values clarity exercise in here, which I love. You can use any core values list you want. I have one in here that you can access. And you find your top core values up to 20, identify them. They're great. They're yours forever. As long as you want them, you can have them. But you slowly narrow them down to get to your top three. The ones you eliminate don't go away, but you want to get to your top three so that you can be sure that you're aligned with the decisions you're making in your life. So, for example, if one of your values is growth mindset, happens to be one of mine, I know we're
Yeah.
very surprised. But if one of your core values is growth mindset, and you're not investing in your own growth through taking classes or coaching or therapy or dance therapy or art or whatever,
Yeah.
then you're out of alignment with your core values. So sometimes just getting crystal clear on those three and then looking at the parts of your life and see how they're playing out for you can make a huge difference.
Yes, and I went to that core value. So this is what I love about the digital magazine is that there's live links. Girls, you just click and it's there. And so also the magazine, of course, is free and you just click on it and it goes directly to it. So I did that. And you know what mine were was, one thing I noticed too is that sometimes your top three can be different in different seasons of life.
Absolutely.
And so right now, the ones that came up to me was courage, which being brave, and that's that everyday brave, taking those steps that maybe that takes a little bit of bravery, creativity, and faith are my top three right now. And those are really areas that I noticed I've been focusing on, and especially with creativity, with the magazine, the dance, trying to figure out the things that I love and doing those things and things that bring me joy. And yeah, so I think it's fun to discover and to challenge yourself into noticing things about yourself
Yeah.
in that
And
growth.
these ones are so beautiful. I love them. I'm hearing courage come up everywhere these days. So you're in good company. We might be in the era of the courageous woman, which I love.
I love that.
But I have people take these and sometimes, do something in Canva with a beautiful background and the words and then print it out and put it in a little cheap frame from the dollar store and put it up on their desk or by their bedside and let them guide you. And remind yourself who you are at your core right now. And then great reminder, Karen, it's great to come back to these and check again because our top three might shift and change in those different seasons. I try to do this every year and see where my alignment is. It's really interesting to see how it shifts. And I do it sort of at the end of the year going into the new year because often it's an indicator of where I'm growing to next when they start to shift.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because when I was going through my divorce and all that, I was in a big growth phase. I called it Karen University. And that was my top priority because I just felt there were so many layers to uncover and discover and all those I called it creating my new beautiful life. And so I was learning to this new space of being a single woman. And so I had a lot of growth, but I've kind of come past that. And I love to learn and grow, but I'm in a different space now.
Mhm.
And so some other things have taken top priority. So that's
I love that. I love that. And then the second half of the selfhood is for those of you that like to journal, or as one of my clients used to say to me, I don't journal, I mental journal. So if you mental journal or you actually handwrite a
write it down.
journal, whatever it is that you do, the reflection questions that go with it can help deepen your understanding of why those words are important for you to help you lead from that centered place. Because those words are telling you something, but we can spend a little more time with them and understand what's underneath it that's helping you grow.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the equanimity.
Yeah, let's do it. I love it. So I've provided in here a little bit of a reflective practice that you can do where you are just centering in the moment. Again, this is another mindfulness practice. The fastest way to equanimity is through mindfulness practice. And as I said before, one time for 30 minutes once a week when it's just this big deal is not as beneficial as small moments every day. And I
Mhm.
like to, I've stolen this from Dan Harris, who has the 10% Happier podcast universe. Daily-ish. If you missed a day of meditating, the world is not going to come to an end. You've not fallen off your
Yeah.
practice. You'll never, it's not that you'll never get it back. You just do it again today when you realize, and you'll be just fine. But in here is a quick grounding activity where you can just plant your feet, relax your jaw, exhale deeply. So that's if you inhale, exhale twice as long.
Yeah.
And I like to do that 3 times and then repeat these phrases here. And if these phrases work for you, use them. If other phrases work for you, use those. But I don't react, I respond.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I am anchored in my core values. And sometimes I say what they are.
Mm-hmm.
What is here for me? What do I need to let go of? Oftentimes, it's the offhand comment that someone said that they don't even remember saying that's swirling around in my brain since yesterday. I
Yeah.
gotta let go of that. They maybe didn't even really mean it. So I settle into now. I honor my limits.
Mhm.
And I like to do hand on chest and lower belly. What supports my integrity?
Oh,
You can spend a minute or two just with that. What supports my integrity? And I love to end on
I
I
trust.
trust myself. That goes back to your core value, faith. I have faith in myself that I can handle any of the BS that life throws at me.
Oh, yes, indeed. I'm going to keep that one. That's a good one for me. Yes, and I love these little tiny things that we can grasp onto to get us through. It's a little bit of me time. It's like I'm going to take what that took, what, 2 seconds to run through those questions for yourself. I printed it off so I could have it and take a look at it. I may just have to have that maybe in my car or something so I can have a reminder of
I
that.
love it. That's a great hack before you get out of your car and go into the next thing where you're going to lose track of yourself and you're going to be taking in the environment and taking in the people. And women often lead with their heart. So they're really scanning the emotional field outside of themselves before they're recognizing how they're feeling. Taking one
Yes.
minute, 30 seconds to just center into yourself before you go into the next space can change everything about how you show up.
Yeah, if we just took a moment because we're so rushed to go into the next thing, if we just paused for a moment, maybe said this to ourselves. I
Yeah.
love it. So,
Despite what we think, no one's going to notice if we're 30 seconds late. No one's
no,
gonna notice.
they're paying too much attention to themselves. So,
Exactly.
yeah, so as we wrap up, what would you like to leave the ladies with?
Hmm. I'd like to leave with a reminder that you at your fullest, whatever that is and however that is for you at this point in your life, is what the world and everyone else in it wants and needs from you. So center yourself a little bit more because self-centered is not selfish.
Wow. And so, if the ladies, if they walk through this and they would like the next steps, what would that look like?
Yeah. I'm here. I'm reachable. So there's information on the last page. Oh, I made it super easy. Olivia at oliviarosecoach.com. Just that easy. So you can email me there. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. There's also a link in the magazine where you can connect with me. I do 30-minute free calls. I love talking to people. I am not a salesy coach. It's not my thing. I like talking to people, hearing what's going on for them, giving them little personalized nuggets. Hey, I tried this activity. It really didn't work for me. Cool. You know what? I have 50 others. What might be better? Have it. Have another thing that'll work for you. So
Yeah.
I love talking with folks. I'm happy to talk with anyone anytime and see what little supports can help them return home to themselves and their alignment.
Oh, I love that. Girlfriends, discover that, explore it, see that beauty within. And the best part is that it's so much richer when you have a girlfriend by your side. So we leave you today and hope that you enjoy this. And feel free to reach out to Olivia. Olivia, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Karen. It was really a pleasure to be here with you.
Lots of fun. Alrighty.